So today's the first day for the ride on the old blister, I mean Dragon. We fixed everything that needed to be fixed, except for the skis. They're still junk. But other than that, we're ready to go. But to make things interesting, I haven't done anything else to it. I mean, we haven't cleaned it. We haven't taken the tank bag off the back. The shocks that we got rebuilt, we just guessed on the preload setup. Everything, even the oil and the gas in the tank, is exactly the way we picked it up from the dealer. So now it's time to ride it. I wanted to see what this thing was like as is, then work with the adjustments available to me to tune the sled into the way I want to ride it. There's really not that much to do, but I think one of the first things I want to do is move the handlebars. I bet the last owner to ride this Dragon was all stretched out because of the position of the bars. I mean, they're way to the back, which for me is actually a good sign because somebody who rides like this is probably not pounding the sled too hard as compared to somebody who rides with their risers right up, that is. But I hope the Dragon's up to it because its life's about to change. With the bars moved forward, the Dragon is instantly easier to ride up on the tank, allowing me to shift my weight better over the center of the sled. This also seemed to settle the sled's front suspension a bit with my weight further forward. Now I didn't want to make too many changes all at once, and I wanted my riding position sorted out before I moved on to the suspension, which is next and definitely needs some tuning. Even though I guessed at preload, the rear is actually pretty good. Now it wasn't brilliance on my end. Preload is set full soft on both the front and rear arms. Now I know I'll probably have to wind in some preload on the front spring and rear cams when the trails get a bit more worked out, but for today, these trails are super smooth and hard. Even though my ride-in might be a little more than I would normally have, it's working in these conditions. The front is a little bit more dodgy. The hard conditions are fighting the current setup on the Dragon, so I've been playing with preloads and compression damping. I've tried adding both more spring and compression than taking spring and compression out, but the Dragon seems to be liking a little more spring preload and less compression compared to where I started. Now the front is starting to get a little bit more predictable. Now I'm sure the setup's going to change as conditions do, but for right now, I'm pretty happy with the Dragon, so I'm just going to pound some miles. I'm actually starting to hope that I remember to tighten all the nuts and bolts I had off. But for the moment, everything seems to be staying together, so I'm only going to worry about that problem if it becomes one. Because I am digging the Dragon. Yeah, it feels a bit old school compared to jumping off a new XCR, but I already knew it would. It's not like I'm disappointed by that fact. The purpose of the Dragon was not to buy a sled for less than 4K that would outperform a new XCR. That would be silly. Instead, I wanted to show that for around 4K, you could buy a sled like the Dragon that would give you the snowmobile experience that we're all passionate about without spending XCR money. It's not like I'm telling you not to go out and buy a new XCR. If you've got that XCR money, please, by all means, go buy an XCR. You won't be disappointed. But not everyone can afford these new buggies. And that fact should not keep you from becoming a snowmobiler. A used sled like the Dragon should be good enough and reliable enough to give you that snowmobiling experience that we're all passionate about without spending that $20,000 to buy a new sled. But for right now, I've got a lot of season ahead of me with the Dragon, and I do plan on riding this buggy.